Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. So we have new updates on the Giannis trade saga, and I think this one matters big time because according to a new report, the Milwaukee Bucks are actively making counter offers in Giannis trade talks. So that's the key phrase in the report. They are making counter offers. So that means teams aren't just calling to check in. Milwaukee is actually engaging, they're actually negotiating, and they are trying to get and set expectations for a real actual price to actually acquire Giannis. And yes, the Miami Heat have been involved in these conversations. So for today's episode, we're going to break down what the Bucks are doing right now, what they reportedly want from the Miami Heat specifically, why Tyler Herro is back at the center of this, and whether this thing could actually happen by Thursday, the NBA trade deadline. Before we keep going for today's episode, I just want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. So if you're trying to predict where Giannis is going to actually end up, that part is very tough. There's a lot of teams that are going to be trying to acquire Giannis by the deadline. But what isn't tough is playing on Underdog Fantasy. Underdog makes it super easy. You just pick whether your favorite player is going to be scoring higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, assists, steals, and more. You don't have to build lineups. You don't have to grind this out. You just make your picks. And if you get them right, you could win up to 5,000 times your cash, which is simply incredible. This week on Underdog, I'm personally taking LaMelo Ball and Zion to go higher on points, rebounds, and assists. And the best part about Underdog is if you download the Underdog app today and use promo code TEAM2BEAT, you will get $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code TEAM2BEAT. Underdog, make picks, win money. All right, now let's get back to Giannis. So the Bucks have remained engaged with teams interested in Giannis and have made counter offers this weekend in ongoing trade discussions. So people are putting out real offers, and the Bucks simply want more. And again, that's important because counter offers mean that the Milwaukee Bucks no longer are just listening; they're actually open to trading him by the deadline, and they're pushing back, and they're also testing the market. Last week, they were just testing to see what kind of packages could they get as a starting point, and they're probably getting some good offers, but they're pushing back, they're negotiating, and they're trying to maximize his value. Giannis is a superstar, so this is going to be huge for the Milwaukee Bucks because they're going to have to fully rebuild by trading Giannis. And the Bucks, they haven't committed to trading him fully yet by the deadline. There is a world where he doesn't get traded until this summer, but they are actively exploring options and what a Giannis trade could look like. And things can move fast, obviously, with only a few days left before the NBA trade deadline. And per league chatter, multiple teams are involved still. The Miami Heat, the Knicks, the Golden State Warriors, and the Minnesota T-Wolves are the top four teams right now that are aggressively pursuing Giannis. And the Heat have obviously shown interest. They've made contact. They're viewed as a serious destination for Giannis if he becomes available, somewhere that Giannis would be willing to play. And he would be a good fit, obviously, on this Miami Heat team. And this is where things get real. According to Brett Siegel, the Milwaukee Bucks want Tyler Herro and all of Miami's young players in exchange for Giannis, which makes sense. It's an enormous ask. We're talking about giving up Tyler Herro, who's an all-star, Jaime Jaquez, Kasparis Yakachonis, Kalel Ware, like every meaningful asset, plus our picks on top of that. And Milwaukee says, hey, if you want to be serious, you have to give us basically everything. I don't know if the Miami Heat are willing to give everything. It seems like they are not. Potentially willing to give up like 6 of their young players, but still, you got to do anything in your power to get Giannis. He's a generational talent. He's a superstar. He's an MVP. He's a finals MVP. So this is an opening position, not a final deal. And so, of course, when you're trading a superstar, the team is going to be very aggressive in their asks. The Bucks are trying to reset their franchise. They're trying to protect themselves, and they're trying to avoid underselling a generational player. So this means they're going to ask for everything. That doesn't mean they're going to get everything, but they're going to ask for everything. And Herro, being included, obviously, is someone that we have to include because of his salary. He's making $32 million. He was an all-star last year. He is 26. He is a young player in his prime, that has been averaging probably 1 points per game for his entire career. So the deal has to be centered around him. They want a blue chip prospect. That's where Khalil Ware comes in, who's a 7 foot, rebounding machine and someone who's only 21 years old. So he is someone that can help the Bucks. And then, of course, Jaime Jaquez Jr. is a valuable player. He's one of the best sixth men in the NBA right now, and he's had a great year so far, averaging almost 16 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists per game. And he's been solid this year. And then you have other draft picks that you can add, and Kasparis Yakichonis, who's a rookie, who's a promising point guard. So this is a good starting point for the Miami Heat. But there's also like so much speculation out there on Twitter. Evan Siddery came out basically saying that the um, Bucks don't have interest in Tyler Herro, that they don't want him as the headliner. But then, of course, Brett Siegel, like I just mentioned earlier, said they want Tyler Herro with all the young pieces. So there's going to be a lot of noise, obviously, until the actual trade deadline, which is this Thursday. But either way, Milwaukee, they want picks. They want a blue chip asset. They want controlled talent, basically. They want flexibility post Giannis. And this is going to change how the negotiation plays out. They're going to want teams to outbid each other. And this is essentially where the Milwaukee Bucks have the most leverage right now, is trading Giannis right now. They want teams to be desperate and offer as much as they possibly can, because when it comes during the offseason, all the teams know that, one, Giannis is going to be an expiring contract, and Giannis is going to be able to dictate where he wants to play, essentially, because if Giannis is an expiring contract and he's not going to re-sign with that team or gives that promise, then why would that team want to offer a shit ton of assets to acquire Giannis as a rental for just one season? So Giannis can actually dictate where he wants to go, versus the Milwaukee Bucks can take the best package possible. And obviously, they're probably going to try to do right with Giannis because he did help them win their NBA championship a few years ago. So still, the leverage right now is with the Bucks. During the offseason, the leverage is going to be with Giannis. And also Giannis, I'm sure, wants to get traded before the deadline, because then he can get his supermax with his new team. He can't get a supermax unless he gets traded by the deadline. So the Miami Heat, they theoretically do not need to rush, but I also think they do. I think their best shot is getting Giannis now before it gets more competitive in the offseason, when teams like the Rockets, the Thunder, the Spurs, whoever, who have way more assets and capital, could get into the mix. Right now, they don't seem like they want to get into the mix and tarnish their rosters and opportunities this season, but that could all change during the offseason. But the Miami Heat strategy seems like they want to keep Bam on the table. They want to pair Giannis with Bam. Very understandable. They want to use Tyler Herro as a movable asset, Khalil Ware, and then a few other young pieces. So Giannis has preferred specific destinations like the Knicks, like the Miami Heat, has wanted to play with Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors in the past. And so the reality of the situation is the Bucks are listening. They're making counter offers. The Miami Heat are involved, and everybody is waiting to see where Giannis goes before we see any other trades right now. There's been rumors with John Morant, Kuminga, and other players that are available, could be available. Zach LaVine, Sabonis, you name it. There's a ton of players that could be moved, that probably will be moved. DeMar DeRozan, and none of these players are getting moved right now at this point because Giannis is halting the market. So nothing is imminent yet, but the door is open. And so the Miami Heat, if they want to get this done, according to Brett Siegel, they have to trade all of their young assets. So would you do Tyler Herro and all of the young guys? I mean, all of them, like Tyler, Jaime, Pella, Khalil Ware, and all of our picks. Like, would you do that, or would you draw the line? In my opinion, you trade everybody or anybody on this roster except for Bam Adebayo. Hell, I've even said in the past, I would trade Bam if Giannis was okay to come play with Tyler and Norm and Davion and whoever, and we keep Khalil Ware and we could throw in Bam. I would do that too. Honestly, I would rather keep Bam and pair him with Giannis. But at this point, you do everything in your power to get Giannis onto this Miami Heat roster. So anyway, that's all I have for this episode. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel.